British personality Katie Hopkins. She's a columnist. She is controversial in England. She's a balls to the wall, no bullshit kind of lady. I think she's hilarious. And she had a few very interesting things to say about Tommy Robinson. So let's check it out. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, like the video, follow me at Rafi the Realtor for all of your South Florida real estate needs. You can support the channel via the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description or pinned comment. Let's get to it.
One of the things that you've been maybe reassessed for in recent years, and I think you're alluding to that. I know Tommy Robinson has been a little bit reassessed in recent years, is the issue with Islam in this country. That 10, 15 years, it's weird actually. 15 years ago, Stacey Dooley was able to make a BBC documentary that everybody's forgotten about, where she went around her town going, oh, look at all the Muslims. I can't believe it's a Muslim. And the Muslims going, you're dressed not well. You look like a slut. You called me that. That was going on. And now the BBC, not in a million. Then there was like a 10-year period of no. But back in that Stacey Dooley period, there was like Obama was saying, we're going to deport people. And Clinton's was saying, we're going to deport everyone. Then there was this sort of 10-year period of like, anyone who mentions immigration or those things is now a bigot. But is it sort of changing the last year or so?
Yeah, and that's a really strange thing to see is... So Elon kind of came along and blew the roof off. So he kind of got a hand grenade and threw it into the pot, and it just detonated and just took the lid off everything and made it so that you could say this, oh my gosh. And all of a sudden, very typically, everybody and their son was out there saying, well, I was the one that was calling this out. I was the one. And you're like, well, I didn't see you, and I'm producing headlines from 2014 where, the Guardian, Katie Hopkins arrested for suggesting grooming gangs are majority Pakistani Muslim men, Simon Danstuck, cuck, whatever, reporting me to Manchester police, me being arrested for saying it's majority Pakistani Muslim men who are part of these grooming gangs, me being arrested for even tweeting that 10 years ago. And now look at it. You cannot get enough boys coming out saying, I was the one calling this out. And so that's a glorious thing because people are speaking out. There's a decade, well, it doesn't really matter for me, but a decade later, suddenly people are speaking. And personally, of course, for me, Elon Musk, did me a tremendous favour. So Rachel Riley, the Muslim Council of Britain, and the Centre for Countering Digital Hate Online, those three organisations walked into Twitter HQ, as it was, and had my account removed. And Elon Musk reinstated me and Tommy on the same day, Guy Fawkes Day. And that was, that was quite a moment for me because that was blowing the lid off my world and saying that I'm now allowed to breathe again. And so it's proven to be true.
Gosh, what does it feel like when you're getting investigated by police? And were you arrested? It's
been arrested multiple times. I was arrested.
Hands in cuffs kind of thing.
They don't go for that. But there's things you learn about police and police approaching on your home or your life or your well-being or your family's well-being. The first time was a column in The Sun, which will be easy to find, but 2014, and it was Stop the Boats. 10 years ago. I mean, who would have thought that 10 years later we'd still be saying the same thing? Stop the boats. And I said I'd use gunships to stop the boats. And what I meant by that was I would send the military to the channel. I would form a military barricade, if you will. And it was show me pictures of bodies floating in the water, show me children drowning, show me this. I have no sympathy. I would send the boats. And I would still believe that to this day. My first thing I would do is send the military to the channel. So
bit of sympathy for children drowning.
Well, more anger at the child traffickers, the human traffickers that decide to put children into boats. I mean, it's disgusting. The onus doesn't really sit on me. It sits on the person that put them in a boat, and it sits on the charities that funded them to put them in the boat, and it sits on heads of religious organisations that also traffic human flesh, but best not go there. But my point rather being, I wrote a column in The Sun that said stop the boats. I'd use gunships to stop the boats. That was my first big foray into the world of being arrested. So Major Crime and Homicide Command, the Metropolitan Police, arrested, interviewed under caution, my case sent to the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, to see if they could prosecute me. The head of the UN Human Rights Organization saying that I was responsible for racism in Western Europe. I mean, it was very serious. And this kind of has gone away because it was 2014 and I was just me, a kind of columnist who was on The Apprentice, suddenly in a police station with two officers answering for a column that I wrote. And it was one of those, I mean, many of your viewers won't even know, but at the time when you had to press play and record at the same time on a tape recorder, this is probably not something you relate to either. There used to be a thing called cassette recorders, and to get it to record, you had to do play and record at the same time. That was in the police station to record my interview for a column in The Sun. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is great. And then who do you arrest as well? Because then you have to arrest the editors.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing. No, the culpability sits with the columnist, even though you've gone through all of the layers of legal and editors. So it's been a long journey for 10 years or so of being arrested, interviewed under caution, completely annihilated, thrown out of my country. But I am officially back.
How did it feel at your lowest? Do you get sad?
That's a really vacuous question.
Do you get upset?
That's also a vacuous question. It's just repeating the last one.
Well, it's a synonym, isn't it?
It's just a really, really
the reason
useless
people want
question.
to know is because John Ronson, for example, I think he wrote an article, I haven't seen it recently actually, suggesting you might be on the psychopathy spectrum. I ask people this a lot. It's not a dig on you. I ask people all the time if they're psychopaths. I ask Tommy Robinson.
No, I'm not concerned about who you ask what to. I'm saying asking me, do I get sad, is a really lame question.
I think people want to know how emotional and what it really feels like when someone tries to arrest you.
I don't think it's a question of being sad, but there is a great deal of sadness, of course. Being thrown out of your country is very sad. Watching ordinary British people be targeted and attacked and feel like they don't belong in their own country is incredibly sad. Feeling like a second-class citizen in your own home is incredibly sad. Working hard to give away 75% of your income is incredibly sad. You know, I think my position in all of this is not that relevant. It's the people that this is being done to that it's incredibly sad for. And whether I'm a psychopath or not, one of the things John Ronson found very hard was that, of course, we ended up really rather liking each other, hanging out for coffee. I don't want to disclose John's private life, but his children and my children, there are some similarities, and I'm an empathetic person. I'm not a monster.
Sorry, that happens sometimes.
That's okay. Don't worry. No worries. I'll go back up about 10, 20 seconds. Is that good?
Do you remember where you were?
No, I'm a retard. I was born yesterday. I've never done an interview in my life. It's really, really hard to do this. So John Ronson, one of the things that was really frustrating.
Katie Hopkins she's great, but she's wild. She's a firecracker. If you guys have anyone who's never heard of her, you should definitely look into her more.
For him is he couldn't find a route in to telling that I was actually not always a monster, or maybe I was a monster, but there was a different side. And at the time, my lovely husband, lovely Mark, worked at the donkey sanctuary, right? And he's a creative, so he did the branding for the donkeys. And John said, and this is surprising for John, he said, well, maybe, Katie, I've been thinking, we could go to the donkeys and do a picture of lovely Mark at the donkey sanctuary. And I knew what he was doing. He was trying via lovely Mark and the donkey, which of course everybody would have loved. And lovely Mark is lovely and fluffy and, has a skeleton ring and has pierced earrings. And John was trying to indicate there was a different side to me. And I was like, John, if the Guardian readership needs to see a picture of a fluffy fucking donkey and my husband to like me, they can fuck off. And that's my sort of favourite memory of my time with John, is that is the truth of me now. And this is I don't really care about the me bit or what people think of me, because I know me. I'm well past what people think. It's not that flippant, I don't give a shit what people think. It's not that at all. It's not that. It's I am so determined about where I'm going and where we need to get to. And I have real clarity about what I'm going to do, that other people's views are much less relevant, other than the very ordinary person making stuff happen at the reception desk. So it's that.
Okay, so you heard it there first. Kind of just understanding her view on how England has been handling things and what's been going on for people that speak up against immigration. It's it's really tough being a Brit. I'm not one, clearly, but for many Brits, they feel like they have no freedom of speech. So let's give us your thoughts. If you are a British person and the immigration bothers you, and the increase in crime bothers you, share your thoughts in the comments. How it feels, what it's been like. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me at Rafi the Realtor for all of your South Florida real estate needs. And you can support the channel via the Buy Me a Coffee link in the pinned comment or description. Until next time, peace.